Every time something bad happens to you, you need to say thank you to God. Thank you, God, for giving me this difficult time, for me to learn lessons, and for me to have more appreciation for my fantastic life in the future. That's how you should approach life. And especially success is exactly the same way. The lessons you'll learn failing along the way will ensure that when you get to the top, you can keep it. You have to be good enough on your worst day to beat your opponent on his best day. On the day he feels motivated and gets out of bed and wants to fight and he's raring to go and he's on the top of his game, and you feel the absolute opposite. You want to lay in bed, you don't want to move, you don't want to go anywhere, but you have to get up and have to fight this man. You have to be good enough to beat him anyway. You have to be that good. Life often gives you chances and you get one shot. You don't get to replay them, you don't get to rerun them. Even the ones that you do get to rerun, you do get to replay. I guarantee if you pulled it off first time every time, your life would be completely different than if you pulled it off on the second time every time. It'd be a different trajectory. There'd be no failure in the mix. The air wouldn't be stained with the stench of your inadequacy. You must be that good. On your path to greatness, there are going to be long periods of time where you hate what you are doing, where you are dissatisfied with the actions you must undertake, where you are tired, where you are stressed. That is why it is difficult. That is why most people won't make it. If the path was easy, everybody would walk it and it would lead nowhere. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult, and the one person who makes it to the end gets the gold. If all 100 made it to the end and the gold was divided by 100, it wouldn't even be worth anything. The difficulty gives it value. The fact that it is difficult to do is the key component into the fact you want it in the first place. If it wasn't difficult, everyone would have it and you wouldn't want it because no one would respect it. It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless. The only way you can succeed in life as a man is if you take absolute responsibility for everything all of the time. You have to sit there and say, every single thing that happens in my life is my fault. Even if it feels like it's not. Even if she cheats on you, every man goes, she's a hoe, she cheated, her friends made her do it, she went out, she drunk, da-da-da. Well, why is she hanging out with those friends? Why didn't you stop it? Because you told her not to hang out with them, she didn't respect you enough. So why doesn't she respect you enough? Your fault. Your fault. Why are you falling in love with a girl who doesn't obey you? Because you have no other options. Whose fault's that? Yours. Simple. You're choosing bad apples because you ain't got any good ones.
Life is not always about winning and losing as a man. As a man, sometimes life is about simply fighting anyway, standing up and doing what you're supposed to do, even if you know there is no chance of victory. That's what true manhood is. It's easy to be brave when you have hope. When you have no hope at all, that's where true bravery is shown. And that's what I want to see from my life.
I trained so hard because I was scared of losing. I was scared of meeting my opponent on X day at X time and getting my ass kicked and looking like an idiot and possibly dying and getting brain damage. I was afraid, and I used that fear to train as hard as possible. And you can apply that to life as a whole. You need to use the fear of being mediocre and use it to make you try as hard as possible. The reason with most mediocre people is they don't have a fear of being mediocre. They've listened to the Matrix programming and they've been convinced that being mediocre is absolutely fine. It's fine to not be that successful. You know what? All our graves are the same size. Doesn't matter what you achieve in your life. Doop-de-doo, dumpty-dum. This is the slave mind, and I refuse to accept it. If you're genuinely scared and genuinely uncomfortable in a certain situation, you're gonna move. If you fall asleep on your arm and it gets uncomfortable, you'll wake your ass up and move your arm. But if you're comfortable, you're not going to. So when I see somebody who's sitting in a rut, and they've been in a rut for a long time, they're obvious, maybe, a couple times a week they're pissed off with the rut, when they got a bill they can't pay or whatever, and they'll message you going, I really need to get out, got to change my life, bro. But the second things aren't that bad, they're back to playing video games. So you're only uncomfortable 2 days a week. For 5 days a week, you're fine being a fucking loser. And that's why you're still a loser.
Yeah, well, I didn't feel like going to the gym, but I went and just had a light session. Why? You went anyway, so why did you have a light session? Are you gay? Is it because you're gay? If you're gonna go, do it. If you're gonna do it right. There's no point in half doing anything. You may as well have not done it at all. So this idea you can coast through things, this idea you can lazily try or pretend to try or just showing up counts, I dispute all of that absolutely.